This is the Petzl ID. It's a newer piece of equipment that we have in our rope equipment cache. Okay, it's a very efficient piece of equipment. It's a newer somewhat of a newer technology that Petzl has come up with in the last 5 to 10 years. I think it is a very nice piece of equipment. We're going to go over it, how to load it, the uses for it, and how we can integrate it into a quick 3-to-1 Z-rig haul system. Okay, so the Petzl itself, as it sits right now, is locked. All right, you can see directions on the front how it should look when it's loaded and the gate is closed. The front faceplate is closed, so you can see the directions on the front right there, how it should look. This is how it should look every time. It doesn't matter if it's hooked to the anchor point itself or it is hooked to your harness for a rappel device. That's how the rope should be coming out of it. Okay. I always look at it, the rope's going to come out of it in 2 different places. It's going to come out of it in the 11 o'clock position, and it's going to come out of it in the 7 o'clock position. Okay? Wherever your termination knot is, or your anchor knot, okay, wherever that termination or anchor knot is it should be coming out in the 7 o'clock position. Okay? The rest of the rope, going back to your rope bag basically, is going to be coming out of the 11 o'clock position at all times. All right? You can load this piece of equipment backwards. If you do load it backwards, you can see on the side here, we have a nice little jagged tooth-edged, basically it's a fireman-proof piece of equipment. It's going to catch that rope, and it's going to keep it from going backwards through the Petzl. So if we load this and we put somebody on it, that rope's going to tighten up, it's going to catch that, and it's going to basically jam the rope up inside the piece of equipment. I'm not going to do it because I don't want to damage any of our ropes, but that's what that's there for. So if it does get loaded backwards, there is a fail-safe for that, okay? So on the back side, I don't know if you can see that very well, but on the back side, there's a little arrow here, and that's indicating what position it's in. So right now, we are in the store position, okay? We open it up a little bit further, we're in the locked position, so it's locked. Anything from here to about here is in the locked position, okay? Once you hit that, you can feel a little notch and a little click there. Once you hit that, you're in the belay position. It's called the belay position. And then you get into the descent position, okay? Basically what that belay position does is when we decide we're going to use this integrated into our 3-to-1 Z-rig, that's where this device should be, somewhere in that belay position, okay? You don't have to look at the back of it every time to figure out what position it's going to be in. This thing is pretty well, it's self-locking. If we would have some guy running the Petzl, one of our guys running this Petzl ID, and he fell asleep or something happened to him, nothing would happen to the guy on the end of the line, okay? He's not going to fall to his death. The rope's not going to go slipping through it. It's going to automatically stop. It's going to automatically lock up, and it's not going to let the rope go through it anymore, okay? Okay. Loading the device, okay? After you unlock the device, right there it's in the lock position. You can see when I open it up, the cam right here in the 11 o'clock position, the cam opens up. That's going to allow you to load the device, load the Petzl, okay? So when you're loading the device, remember I told you the termination knot needs to come out the bottom, and the rest of your rope that's going back towards your rope bag is going to come out the top, okay? So anchor knot out at the 11 o'clock or the 7 o'clock position, rest of your rope going towards the 11 o'clock position, okay? You're going to close the faceplate, and you're going to attach the carabiner. And then you're going to attach it to your anchor plate or your anchor strap, whatever you're using with it, and you're going to lock it down into place, okay? So when in use and when operating, you can see this thing's got a pretty hefty piece of metal, pretty hefty, what I call the nose of the piece of equipment right here. That rope should be running almost directly over the top of the nose of this piece of equipment. In some of our devices, they've been used in training. You can see there's a pretty good, some of the red on the metal is worn off. It should be rubbing right against that metal right there. You can see in the picture, on the diagram on the device, it shows exactly where the rope should be running over the top of the piece of equipment. Okay, so that's what it should look like when it's loaded. Okay, you can either push the handle back over into the lock position until you're ready to operate it, or you can leave it in one of the other positions so you can take some slack out of it. If you're going to take slack out of it, okay, my recommendation when you're taking slack out of it, turn it to the side and you can easily pull slack through. You can see how easy this has got a lot of friction on it, and you can see how easily I'm pulling slack through the device. Okay? You can go either direction with it. If you turn it to that side where both ropes are coming out the sides, you can easily pull slack through the device. If you put it forwards and you're trying to pull slack through, there's so much friction it's not going to allow you to do that. Okay? So, that's how you're pulling slack through the device. When you're ready to load the piece of equipment and we get our edge set, when we got somebody going over the edge, make sure you lock it back off until that rescuer is ready to go over the edge. So it's in the lock position right now. We're ready to go over to the edge. You can take it down, open it up, and you can open it up to the descent position. Once you hit that descent position, you're going to feel a little bit what we call the sweet spot, and that's you're going to know it when you put some weight on it. And once you hit that sweet spot, you can open it a little further, and it'll go a little faster. And if you go too fast and you go down all the way down to the bottom here, you go past the sweet spot, it's going to lock it off. So you can't get that rescuer going too fast. All right? All right, just a little efficiency and safety tip on this. The rope needs to stay in this position. The rest of the rope coming back over the top of the Petzl, it needs to stay in this position, okay? Not only because that's how the device works, also because when you get a two-person load on this and you're lowering a two-person load, what we're going to do is we're going to put a carabiner around your locked carabiner that's attaching the device to your anchor and lock it down, okay? Now, when you get that two-person load, what you're going to do is you're going to bring that back up and use this carabiner as another friction device, okay? That's going to give you just a little more friction when you're lowering the two-person load down. So when you get into that descent position on the Petzl itself, you're going to use this kind of as a brake hand. That's going to be, that's how you're going to lower a two-person load to the ground, okay? When you're raising somebody up with this, when you're using this in your 3-to-1 Z-rig, you don't need this carabiner in play, okay? One-person load, if you know it's just going to be a single-person load, if we're just going into a confined space, shouldn't really have a two-person load going into a confined space normally. You can just use this as your brake hand, kind of keep it right up here next to the Petzl, and start your descent, okay? The little plunger on the side of the handle of the Petzl, all of our Petzls are the newer versions. You might see some in other training situations elsewhere. Some of the older Petzls do not have the plunger with them. Basically what this is for is it opens up that cam and loosens the friction up on the rope inside the device barely. It doesn't even give you enough. It's more for a low angle or a slope type rescue. If you need a little less friction for somebody going down the hill, you can hold that plunger down and it'll let you go just a little bit faster through the device, okay? It kind of, let's call it opening up the sweet spot a little bit is what it does, okay? So that's the Petzl in a lowering position, okay? So like once again, it's in the lock position. You open it up into the descent position. You'll feel the sweet spot. Once you feel the sweet spot, you can open it up to however fast you need to be going and lower the person to the ground, okay? So that's lowering. Using the Petzl in a haul system. Okay, so probably going to have to zoom this way, Drew, a little down a little bit. Let's look here first, I guess. So, using the Petzl in a 3-to-1 Z-rig. This is the biggest reason why we keep all this equipment in our, what we call our mainline bag now. The reason why we keep all this equipment attached to our anchor plate is because we can quickly and rapidly deploy a haul system once we lower somebody down. So if we need to quickly retrieve them, or we need to get them out of there right now, or we just need to use the 3-to-1 Z-rig. We don't need to put together a 4-to-1 block and tackle, or pull our 4-to-1 block and tackle out, or a 4-to-1 double J system. We just need a quick 3-to-1 mechanical advantage system. We have everything right here attached, ready to go. So I'm taking off the pulley, the delta, and the prusik cord, okay? And I'm bringing it up to where I need to attach to our system. And I'm making a bite in our rope, and wherever that bite is in the rope, wherever I decide I'm going to attach to my system, I'm putting our pulley. Okay, so I've got our pulley there. I've got our prusik cord tied and ready to go. I'm triple wrapping, doing a triple wrap prusik like we did when we were tying our knots. So there's our triple wrap prusik, and then this is where our delta is going to go. So I've just built a 3-to-1 mechanical advantage system. Using our Petzl, okay? The reason I keep the Petzl in the system is if we used a pulley instead of a Petzl here, basically if somebody let go, if the haul team, this is our haul line right here, if our haul team was on the haul line and they essentially let go of that line and there was just a pulley here, that rescuer or that victim would fall down however far it would take for their belay to catch, okay? So basically what we do with the Petzl is it creates enough friction and it locks itself off that once we haul and we need to set our system and then reset our system so we can get another haul in, the Petzl captures our progress from the previous hauls that we had done. So that's why this piece of equipment is so essential and so efficient to be put into this system. Okay, it's not a major issue, but one of the problems with the Petzl in this system is it's not a true 3-to-1 mechanical advantage anymore. We've basically cut our 3-to-1 mechanical advantage almost to a 2.5-to-1 mechanical advantage just because of the friction that goes through the device. It's not like a pulley where the rope's running over the sheave in the pulley. Okay, the rope is running through this device and it's creating some friction through the device. So you actually have a 2.5-to-1 mechanical advantage system now. Okay, so that's our quick 3-to-1 Z-rig with the Petzl in play. We talked about lowering with the Petzl and raising with the Petzl, and why we keep all this in our mainline bag ready to go and quickly able to deploy it.